Which specific language should I even go for this particular next playthrough? No matter what though, we'll go for English for the majority of this playthrough, so... Hello, what is up everyone? It is I am the one and only Mario here, and I am from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Woohoo! And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another new Let's Play. Game sales are way up. Here's why. Is it that cool? I got it. I'll call my friends. Like Jimmy, Mona, Dribble, Spitz, Cat and Anna, 9volt, Kroigor, and Orbulon. So the laptop is loading up. And this will pretty much lead us to the next series we can able to tackle through, which, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we'll present to you our next new Let's Play, and this time we're going to be hit on to another game series I was really keen on. That's the forms of WarioWare series. So first off, we're going to be hit on to the one that started it off on the Game Boy Advance, onto WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games, also known as in Europe as the forms of WarioWare Inc. Minigame Mania, whilst in Japan, this is usually called Made in Wario. So either way though, yeah, I'm really looking forward to able to doing this Let's Play for you guys out there, especially noticeable after dealing with the forms of quite a few Wario platformers for the past few months and stuff like that for the majority of this year so far. So as a result, we can figure we might as well able to also tackle through the rest of the WarioWare series. Well, mind you, not all of them, mind you, but I'll probably talk more about it whenever we continue proceeding for this game. So, of course, I am male because I usually type my name, which is Mario, which I'm going to be hosting for this Let's Play. And this takes place in Diamond City in well, I don't know what I usually think about it. So, WarioWare Inc., in this case, Incorporated. So I wonder what Wario's gonna be up to after, well, he's doing his exercise for his dumbbells. Think you can't beat my games? Well, I can short to that for this point, Wario, and somehow he just keeps on jumping onto the trampoline, and somehow he launched up in the air and goes all the way back down, and I think he's, oh gosh, I can't even believe he landed in the actual radio right there. So yeah, this is how the actual gameplay itself looks like in terms of the WarioWare games, especially noticeable for this installment, WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games. This is basically, it's like a micro games compilation game. Like basically, depending on what specific micro games you're participating in, you do have like lesser time compared to the mini games from the likes of Mario Party. Oh, by the way, I hate that micro game, by the way, because it is impossible, because as far as I'm aware, although if you couldn't tell already from the quality standpoint, much like in Wario Land 1, Wario Land Virtual Boy, along with Wario Land 2 and 3, I'm going to be playing this on the emulator, because I was originally going to be able to try to play this on the Wii U Virtual Console re-release, but I think the best alternative way for me, despite the frame rate is a bit chunky on the emulator, especially noticeable with my capture recording, but I'm sure you can able to see the screen just fine. So because of that though, yeah, that's basically how it goes. Oh, and by the way, every time whenever you get into the further progressioning onto certain micro games on certain stages in this game, sometimes you're able to stumble across into boss stages. In this case, in this first boss stage right here, basically we need to do a specific timing with that particular punch until you're able to take down that particular heavy ball of chain. So yeah, it's a pretty easy micro game if you ever think about it. Although, kind of think about it though, the first stage is by far the easiest stage in the game. Not only because of how the fact that you start things off a bit easier, but it's also like an intro stage basically, so now we're done with that, and it looks like Wario just somehow got out of the radio box now, so because of that, he has freedom. Hey, you did it! Next is Jimmy. So, yeah, once you complete one of those stages, you will move on to the next stage. So in this case, the next stage we're going to be hop into is Jimmy. But before we get into Jimmy though, we need to take care of the forms of, well, if you couldn't tell already, that we've already did manage to tackle through like, 10 micro games or something like that. Actually, yeah, 10 micro games. So as you can see, I am missing 3 of them. So because of that, actually, before I get into that, the introduction stage genre is intro games. Huh, you actually beat me? Well, Mario, I guess I misjudged you. Don't get too cocky, this part is just the intro. Just a warm-up. So, yeah, basically, basic games are fun, but they are, yeah, you probably get the idea about that. So, as I said, I'm missing 3 micro games, so this means in order to actually access to every single micro games, you have to replay through certain stages. So, in this case though, is the fact that obviously this first Wario stage is basically an introducing stage, so you can able to get used to with the mechanics of the forms of certain micro games as far as I'm concerned. And by the way, if you also continue proceeding throughout the majority of the stage, basically sometimes you're able to actually trigger the actual speed up mode. So this means that certain micro games gets a bit faster, and it gets even much more faster until you get into the second speed up segment. And if you continue further, obviously you're able to actually deal with the forms of the boss micro game. So yeah, that's as simple as it goes basically, and I believe that you get like 4 lives to start with, and then if you mess up that particular micro game, then you lose 1 life. But then if you manage to waste all 4 lives, then it's basically game over for you. And sometimes you can able to actually just to compete your high score if you decide to able to actually just to go for the best runs if possible. So because of that, I might try to do as good as far as I could, but I'm hoping I can try anyway. So, oh, and by the way, if you manage to replay certain stages, as you can see, we got ourselves a well, this little screen right there, that as you can tell, that Wario just somehow turns on his TV, that basically that something will happen if you somehow trigger something. So yeah, it's a nice little distraction, I suppose. But I actually haven't been for this game for quite some time, although the last time I played this game was on my original cartridge version, on the Game Boy Advance anyway, and let me tell you, I had a blast for this game. Especially noticeable because that was actually a greatest start for the WarioWare series that gets, well, seriously, I always hate that micro game because sometimes it's so unavoidable sometimes if you're not knowing what to do here. So, anyway, a few things I want to explain. Oh, really? Okay, whatever, we'll just lose 1 life anyway, so yeah, today's day is of course the 22nd of November today, in this case in 2021 today, so not much else is going on, I'm afraid, apart from the fact that I'm really looking forward to able to doing this Let's Play for you guys today, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, if you're probably wondering, what about Wario Land 4, if you're probably wondering, well, I'll probably will still say right now that Wario Land 4 it still be on its way until 2022, but not now though, because we are definitely getting really close towards the end of 2021 for sure. So we're able to tackle for this game just to able to actually introduce to the new series for our channel, which is of course the WarioWare retrospective of games. Mind you, there are quite a few WarioWare games compared to Wario Land games, because as far as I'm aware, I think there's only 2 of them for the Game Boy Advance. One utilizes the forms of... Well, in this game in particular, you only have to use 2 buttons, which are control pad and the A button, and that's all you really have to do with the control scheme. Although, whenever we get into the second installment, WarioWare Twisted, that does have a unique feature, which is the gyro sensor, which it's pretty cool back in the day, back in 2004, all the way up to 2005 for America. Mind you, we didn't get the game in Europe, because I'm presuming with that particular cartridge in mind, for that particular tilt sensor or something like that, or in this case a gyro sensor kind of thing, that I believe contains like a Quicksilver, or something like that, although I haven't exactly gotten that much details about this, I'm afraid. And also there is WarioWare Touch for the DS, and also WarioWare Smooth Moves, and even some questionable titles out there, such as, for instance, there is Game & Wario, WarioWare Snapped, and thankfully we got some good ones again, like DIY, in this case Do It Yourself, and especially notable with the forms of WarioWare Gold, and even recently Get It Together, which recently came out during this year. So, oh, and by the way, if you mess up on that particular boss microgame, then you're basically just done for good. Well, usually for the bad. So, and I get the horrible feeling I'm actually missing one last microgame. So, yep, I think it's gonna be my 3rd time. Okay, so turns out I managed to come across into one, and it's just basically just to shoot 'em up. Alright, so I did another jump cut, and basically, as you can see, I've now managed to able to actually unlock the rest of the micro games on the introductioning stage. So, yeah, there we go. So, either way though, now we're done with that, even though it actually did took me 3 run-throughs of this particular stage. So now let's move on to Jimmy. So, his genre is sports. It's Jimmy, baby. I am sporting big hair and big sports. Leave me 15 cell messages to clear this stage. Hey, Mario, man. Get your sport on. And get over 20 points and get a hookup. Oh, this is interesting. So, because if you notice with that particular little flashy letters, as far as you might well able to already saw that coming, basically, if you do manage to reach a certain amount of points, although mind you, we're not gonna get to that just yet though, so... You wanna play my games, huh? You sure? Well, I am. Okay. Let's rock. So of course Jimmy... Well, as far as his surname, or his full name rather, his name was actually Jimmy T, so just in case you're able to recognize the character. So, and he loves to do a lot of boogie nights during the actual Club Sugar, so, and he got his cell phone. So, anyway, so his micro games is all about sports, so in this case though you might come across into karate chopping, as well as ski jumping right there, and eventually tennis, and exponentially boxing, and rope jumping as well, and you probably name the rest of the few for the sake of the forms of the actual sporting micro games here and there. So yeah, there's not much right to home about with the forms of that particular genre in mind, and also golf as well. So yeah, let me know in the comments below for the question of the day. What was your absolute favorite WarioWare game you've ever played in your life? Well, honestly, I think my favorite WarioWare game, it will probably have to be by the forms of Smooth Moves for the Wii. Well, mind you, because that game usually did sell so well. Mind you, I haven't exactly got that much records for the actual sale records for the likes of the forms of the most recent installments Get It Together, but from what I've heard, it's doing so well. So, either way though, that's, I think relatively speaking, because I always enjoy WarioWare Smooth Moves when I was like really young and stuff like that, and I'm really looking forward to able to doing a redo Let's Play of that game at some point in the future, but not right now though, because we're going back to the beginning of the rest of the series, and I can able to show you guys the rest of the series. Yes, including the forms of WarioWare Twisted, which we definitely need to work on, especially noticeable that well, it might be pretty awkward to play on the emulator, but I can hope that I can able to actually get that sorted. So, alright, so here's the forms of the boss micro game for the likes of Jimmy T's stage, and this appears to be a boxing match. So, basically, you have to able to beat the opponent, and that's all you have to do. But you have to be very careful of his attacks, because obviously, if you manage to, like, run out of lives, or the hearts rather, you basically get knocked out, and you don't let that happen. So, there we go. We've basically completed the stage, and basically we've now reached on to 15 cell messages. So, nicely done for my part. I believe for the first part, I think we'll probably take care of the forms of 2 stages for today. Smooth groove. Of course, absolutely. And somehow he's going to be ended up on that particular another building that he's going to be popping over into. So, yeah, and he's on to the first floor, apparently. Okay, weird, but hey, at least it's something. You did it! You're moving on to the next 3, man. And speaking of such though, the next 3 stages we actually unlocked, and also another game that we somehow stumbled across, which I'll show that off in a second. So we have Mona, and as well as 9 Volt. Oh, I'm really looking forward to going to that stage. And also we got Jump Forever, and the one on the left, as you can see, we also got Dribble. So either way though, that, let me tell you, it's on in the next video. I am really looking forward to able to get onto 9 Volt stage, because as far as I'm aware, I'm sure that most of you guys already know what I was going to be trying to explain about this. So, let me see, I'm missing about 10 micro games, so yeah, that's the only thing I need to able to classify for realizing about the fact that I think for the majority of this Let's Play, for the first runs we'll play the actual stages as normal, but what if we get into the second run through, then we'll try our best if we're able to actually get ourselves a high score, especially notable that the next thing we do need to unlock, that is the fact that we need to reach for about, I would say 20 points or something like that, although I may be wrong. But then again, no, it has been a couple of days since I actually did manage to last play this game since the original cartridge version of the game, so... But I digress. And for the third run through, assuming if there are some bit of micro games I was missing on, then I can obviously do a powerful editing skills by able to do a massive jump cuts in between. So that's my theory for that particular, you know, the actual recording sessions on this. So anyway, and yeah, if I would like to able to tackle for the rest of the series, well, I would certainly love to. Although, again, like I said, few exceptions which are WarioWare snapped for the DSiWare, mainly because that game requires you to use the camera at all times, and especially noticeable with the forms of Game & Wario for the Wii U, which, let me tell you, I think to me that game honestly sucks, because, well, it looks nothing like a Wario game to me, because it feels like a tech demos of certain, you know, applications or something like that for the Wii U, like you get, Sketch or Arrow, and it just feels nothing like a Wario game to me. Although, thankfully in the older games, they certainly feels a lot more enjoyable. Even I'll give, you know, WarioWare Twisted some credit for, at least they got micro games at the very least, with, unique technology, so... Anyway, and there's also the GameCube port, technically speaking, which appears to be by the forms of, WarioWare Inc. Mega Party games, which is basically the same thing as the Game Boy Advance version, although the noticeable difference between the two is that the Game Boy Advance version doesn't seem to have multiplayer functions, whilst in the GameCube port does manage to have multiplayer options, so I think that might be the only differences between the two. So if I would like to able to tackle through WarioWare Inc. Mega Party games, I don't know if I can able to tackle for that game, honestly, because it plays exactly like the original version, except with, you know, multiplayer and stuff like that that's been added, so... But I digress. So I believe we are now moving on to the level 2 variations of certain micro games. Yeah, at some point throughout the majority of certain micro games, for sure, that sometimes you're able to actually stumble across into 3 different difficulties. There was the level 1 version, which is basically the easiest level, And then level 2 is basically it's like a normal difficulty, and level 3 is considered to be the hard mode. So because of that though, yeah, you have to be like extra cheating or all that stuff, and also just, you know, be very quick before that bomb is about to take off. Even though it does almost reminds me of the forms of the Super Monkey Ball timer bomb for the sake of the original game, including the arcade game as well. So, yeah, and I believe it only lasted for about 5 seconds, according to the actual time bomber, so, yeah, you have to act fast. Oh, dang it, I wasn't paying attention because I somehow forgot to able to react on my controller. Oh well, no big deal. But at the very least we could able to continue proceeding for this point right here, so... And then we go back onto the boxing match again, but this time I think we are facing up against with a different opponent, such as this little fella right here, so... Yeah, exponentially it gets a little bit more aggressively difficult as you progress, especially noticeable if the speed up comes into play, and then as a result though, they have to be like super duper fast, and also sometimes be patient sometimes if the actual micro game pops up or something, so... But yeah, that's as far as I can say in terms of the forms of how the WarioWare games usually plays. Especially notable, I do honestly think that the old games, including the recent installments like WarioWare Gold and Get It Together, are simply the greatest games. So, because honestly, I think I should probably play those games any day, compared to the forms of Game & Wario for the Wii U and WarioWare Snaps for the DSiWare, so... And look at that, we actually unlocked something, because obviously we've managed to reach over 20 points on that run through. This will unlock Dr. Wario. Huh, interesting. So, let's see what minigame or the micro games I'm missing. I'm once again missing one. So, yep, this is gonna be our third time doing this run through, so hold on a second, guys. Alright, please be something. Okay, there is something, which is just a hammer throw, so... Alright, so now we've actually unlocked all of the micro games for Jimmy T, so I think we should basically be all sorted right now, so, yeah, I think, suffice to tell you, I think we should probably end things off at this point right here, so join me next time for more of Let's Play of WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games, and that is the fact that we'll move on to the next stage, which is, well, I would say Mona, so I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Later, fellas.